Welcome to the InnovaBuzz podcast, where we share all kinds of tips, advice, and interview guests on all things innovation and leadership in modern marketing. Each episode is a conversation with inspiring people who make wonderful contributions to our knowledge in these areas and spark curiosity and ideas to pursue. Join me, Jürgen Strauss from InnovaBuzz, and let's get into today's masterclass on this InnovaBuzz podcast.
If you want to be an innovator, you've got to ask yourself, how do you grow people in your organization? Not via knowledge, but how do you help them learn through their experiences to develop new practices? Let them think for themselves, let them apply themselves, let them grow, because that's the only way how you're going to be able to innovate. It's not all about you, it's about you and the team. If you want to achieve great things in this life, it's not about what you can do, it's about what you could do through others.
Hi there, Innovator. It's great to be back with another episode. I hope you've had an awesome week so far. I trust too that you enjoyed my recent conversations with David Schreiner-Kahn of Smashing the Plateau and with Kim Argett-Singer, coach, writer and entrepreneur. I'm really excited today to have on the InnovaBuzz podcast as my guest Chris Jankulovski, the founder of Remote Staff. Remote Staff was established in 2007 after Chris visited the Philippines, and they provide offshore recruiting solutions to a variety of small and medium enterprises, and they've expanded to a team of 70 in-house staff. The company has placed 8,000 professionals and helped support the growth of more than 2,000 businesses all over the world. Now, Chris's story is truly inspiring. He struggled with dyslexia throughout his childhood and didn't learn to read until he was 24. He has survived cancer and multiple major surgeries and deals with a hereditary condition which makes him prone to recurring tumours. None of this has stopped him. Realising how short life is, Chris saw no other option but to make every second count and relentlessly chases his dreams, showing no sign of slowing down. And as he told me after the interview today, he is now cancer-free. A quick promotional message from our sponsor, that's InnovaBuzz, where we help coaches and consultants build professional credibility, engage their target audience, and connect with their ideal client. That requires absolute clarity about who your ideal clients are and how you can help them. To help you get that clarity about your ideal client, take a look at our Marketing Master mini class, where in less than 30 minutes you'll gain absolute clarity on your ideal client and how you can communicate with them to build and strengthen an engaging, enduring relationship. Access the Marketing Master mini class at innovabuzz.co/Marketing Master. It's completely free and accessible without even giving away your email. In our discussion, Chris talked to me about how your mindset is a reflection of everything around you. He talked at great length about his personal transformation and his leadership transformation, and about the importance of building a strong and resilient mindset, a mindset of transformation. Without further ado then, let's fly into the hive and get the buzz from Chris Jankulovski. Hi, I'm your host, Jürgen Strauss from InnovaBuzz, and I'm really excited to welcome to the InnovaBuzz podcast today from Sydney in New South Wales, Australia, Chris Jankulovski, who's the founder and CEO of Remote Staff, and he's also author of a new book that's not launched yet, but he'll tell us more about that, and it's called Just Keep Going. So I know Chris has a really interesting background, so I'm looking forward to the conversation today. Welcome to the InnovaBuzz podcast, Chris. It's a privilege to have you as my guest.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Rob Rawson, who was our guest on episode 257 of the InnovaBuzz podcast, suggested that we have a conversation with you, Chris. So a big shout out to Rob.
Yeah, Rob's a very good mate of mine. He's one of my first friends here in Sydney when I moved from Melbourne. So we're still very close today.
Okay, so you're a Melbourne boy. I didn't know that.
I'm born and raised in Melbourne. Yeah,
Yeah. All right. Now, Chris, before we talk about your business things, remote stuff and entrepreneurship, I know you've had a really interesting journey. So give us a bit of a snapshot of what's happened there for you and how that's informed or transformed your life in a way. I know you're telling me recently about, just before we started, about personal transformation and business transformation. So give us a little bit of a overview and a picture to get us going.
for sure. That's a great idea. So imagine you have a hereditary condition. Imagine being diagnosed at 19 that you'll be dead by 30.
Hmm.
That's pretty tough news. And then imagine
Yeah.
somebody even saying, mate, you've probably even got cancer now. So I cried for 2 weeks. All of a sudden, I gave up on life. I gave up on a future. I just thought, what's the point? I'm dead at 30. Who cares? But there was something bugging me because I just had an entrepreneurial knack. I just kept making money always on deals on the side, this, that, that. I just knew how to leverage. I knew how to delegate. I knew how to capitalize, you could say. And so I kept making money. So since I was going to be dead by 30, and yet I'm always making kind of deals and money on the side. I have a Macedonian background, and my ethnic dad would always say, or my mom would say, Chris, you're always making too much work for yourself. And I would say, and I would say, no, I'm not the one making too much work for myself. I'm setting up systems and processes and putting people in place, and they're the ones working for me, you see. And
Mm.
then one day, back in the early 80s or whatever it was, my dad's like, Chris, how can you have made $50,000 in 1 month? You're only friggin' 20. What's wrong with you? How? You this tax. You can imagine that landscape that I'm born in.
Yeah, yeah.
But then at the same time, imagine the other landscape of that inner reality that I didn't want to share with everyone, that, hey, I'm going to be dead by 30. That's the averages of this condition that I have called von Hippel-Lindau, or VHL. And so it grows cysts and tumors in all major organs, as well as cancers in the kidney. So that's me. And I gave up. I traveled around the world. I took time off, but I'm also of a dyslexic learning style, so education was never quite a strong suit for me. But I've always known this creativity in me, and I think we all have a career challenge in our lives, often discovering who we truly are in this world. What is our time on this world going to be like, especially if it's limited? And I didn't know why it mattered to me that somehow my life would count, that it would matter in some way. This existence that I've got here. And it was annoying me that I couldn't quite find my groove as to doing something meaningful and that can help make an impact in some way. And so, even though I was making money and I didn't need to technically work in a job, who cares? Because I know how to make money. It wasn't enough still. And so after I came back from travel, my dad got me a job in a factory, and I kept getting jobs as a factory manager. And even though I didn't want to be in factories and I didn't want to be a manager, there were two kind of areas I despised. I did the 2.5 year thing, and I didn't. It just didn't work for me. And then I got to a point where at the age of 24, I quit on the concept of a job. It just didn't work for me anymore. I couldn't get jobs I wanted, which was in advertising or creative works, and
Mm.
and I kept getting jobs that were not something I enjoyed waking up every day going to. And I was always making more money anyway on the side, even though I was getting paid a good income back in those days, a good income from my family's point of view. Chris, you're making so much money. uh, why? What are you going to do with your life? How are you going to have money to survive? Anyway. So while I've got that voice of family reasons, I've got this other voice in me saying, "Oh my God, I'm going to be dead. Oh my God, I've only got a little bit of time on this earth. Oh my God, I want to make my life count in some way. Oh my God, I want to do something meaningful and purposeful in my life." Okay, who cares about just making money? Because that didn't equal satisfaction all the time. It was good, yes, but it wasn't quite satisfying. So when I took a year off, or it was 8 months to soul search, question everything that I was going through, I discovered the word entrepreneurship at that age, even though entrepreneurship I was being entrepreneurship is a mindset. So I was being very entrepreneurial right through since 14, but I didn't know of that mindset until I was 24. So at 25, I decided that's it. I read all those books, Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and
Yeah.
everything else. I said, right, I'm starting in an industry that I'm familiar with, bloody manufacturing, and I'm going to start my own business. And I'm set up a business called Industry Outplacement, where large businesses like Remington or Oaks Cleaning Company, all these other companies can outsource their on-demand, quick needs of labor to me to get things done in my factory that I didn't have, with my labor that I didn't have, and all these kind of things. And so that was the birth of my first adventure of business and my landscape of voice of reason from family and doctors' reasons of my mortality.
Yeah, yeah, that's a fabulous story, and I love the idea of the competing voices too. So, how did you kind of break free? I guess you had a bit of an entrepreneurial spirit there, but how did you break free of? I guess both of them were limiting voices in a way, weren't they? So your dad
They
sort of
were.
saying, "Hey, there's this conventional path that you should be going down," and the doctor's saying, "Well, don't do too much because you haven't got much time."
Yeah, look, so you could say I was a wild child in my 20s. I moved out of home. I had enough. I just said, right, I'm out of here. I had to get out of that voice from the family nagging. I left home at 24 and 25, 24, 25, around that period when I was going through the transformation. I just kept buying books. And it was actually the first time when I even read a book for the first time, cover to cover, at the age of 24. Being dyslexic, my learning style was difficult to read and focus on the words and see them in the right order. It was just challenging. But at that time, in that crisis of my life, I knew that my way out was self-learning. I knew that I had to transform myself and to transform my way out of this family mindset and worldview and insecurities and anxieties that they put on me, or the doctor with the challenges of my mortality saying you'll be dead by 30 anyway, mate. So both these insecurities I had to take on head first. And I started reading books. A matter of fact, I went from no books to reading 1,000 books in the area of spirituality, leadership, sales, marketing, um, just psychological things,
Mm.
and wealth creation. I enjoyed that topic, and and these were the books I read, studied, attended a lot of classes. My business that I started, the first one, took off and grew. Now all of a sudden, I'm a success in the eyes of society. Oh my God, he's got a business. He's young, but I was miserable because I hated what I was doing still. What
Yeah,
was the difference between, working in a factory job that I was a staff member versus working in a factory job that I own? No damn bloody
yeah.
difference. It was worse actually being the owner, because one was I'm a team member in one and now I'm a team bloody owner. It was annoying. And so I wasn't happy, and I kept thinking still that same question, that nagging thing later in my 20s. Hey, I still want to find something meaningful and purposeful in my life. I want to create. I want to express all my ideas. I want to innovate. Damn it! And so I started ignoring my other business and set up a company called Think Innovations. Hence why I like your
Mhm.
podcast name. and and that was just to actually first start. The name of the business first was E-Methods, in the terminology of entrepreneurial methods, and then went on to straight away same day Think Innovations, because, well, my mind is always thinking and innovating, and I have to always transform myself. And hence why I put this idea of Think Innovations, because innovation comes from our thinking, our mindset. And so often when we think about things about innovation and creativity, we look outside of ourselves and we don't look at that mirror long enough to realize, oh, it's my mindset that's a reflection of everything else around me,
Mm.
including my business, my teams, my innovations, my position in the market, everything. And so I then said, right, it's time to be that innovator you've always desired to be. It's time to start on a new direction, don't worry about your other business. I decided to put all my money in creating products and making them and innovating new products from China or Taiwan. And I read all these books now on on developing products and commercializing products. And I read some book that I forgot what it was, but it said start with an easy one first. So I was investing about $15,000 at the time in commercializing a digital e-piggy, I call it, which was where you put coins in and a little piggy has preset savings and makes oink oink noises when you've got a weight of coins.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I always had I had a pig on front on my table always, and it was just kind of on my mind always. And I thought, wouldn't it be nice if you could tell me how much coins I already had in there? And wouldn't it be nice if I could set these little goals and then maybe train kids on the importance of like saving money or the value of knowing your budgeting and money
Mm.
and I just thought, oh, that maybe that might make my life matter more. Maybe I can make a contribution that way. But then I read that book and I transferred from that thinking to the gadget called EasyLog. So I developed this gadget called EasyLog, which is a memory jotter back before 2000 in 1999, where you put in your cigarette lighter, you start your car, and it'll give you a memory. It's a novel gadget that tells you a reminder to fill out your logbook, because I kept doing in my private car business trips and personal trips, and my accountant kept busting my chops to say, "Where's your logbook? Fill it out."
Mm.
Who the hell has time to fill that out? So when I went into the market to see these logbooks, and I saw this company called Zions, who's still around, very old school, very boring kind of administrative paperwork, I thought I could jazz it up with my creativity and design and my
Yeah.
novelty with my gadget. How naive was I to step into this market, spend $300,000 of all my money and some from dad. We went all in. I went to Taiwan, got these products made, got a deal with Officeworks, all signed up, all done, and then paid all that money. The products on the ship coming over, and Officeworks cancels the deal. And now I'm stuck with
Yeah.
this product, and they go, well, why don't you just go partner with Zions? Because I underestimated the relationships that Zions or distributors have with their partners. And
Mm.
so obviously my technology and my creativity was a threat, and therefore the distribution channel just didn't want to compromise their existing
Yeah.
relationship with this one man band. And so I went with them, but they were just sharks. They had no interest in doing anything. They just were dragging out, extending my hope. Repackage this, do that. We got to put the price down lower, lower. Let's do some pilot runs. And then I realized, what am I doing this for? Because I'm putting even more money in, and I'm realizing that I'm losing money. This is costing me money to sustain this exercise. I pulled out of that relationship. To end the story very quickly, that was my experience in innovating. I
Mm.
nearly lost my pants. I went from exciting, purpose, mission driven, yeah, I'm going to create and innovate. Finally, I get this chance in my life, to then going, oh no, I'm almost broke. How am I going to get through this? I'm just going to lay low now. I'm just going to do deals again. I'm going to move to Sydney. I'm out of Melbourne as a result. I'm this is I don't know what to do. How am I going to bounce back from such a debt when I can't even keep a job that I want to have? Or I'm not going to be tolerating. I made a pledge to myself that I'm not going to do a job that I don't want. So, well, I'll just do deals just enough to survive. I'm not going to try to go big time anymore. And that's what I did in my 30, 31, 32. And by 33, 34, I started picking up my life with Rob. When I went to Sydney, I befriended Rob. He was one of my friends that we met from all that Tony Robbins and seminars that we attended everywhere. And I said to Rob, mate, help me learn how you make money online, because I love what you're doing. You're a doctor. You don't want to be a doctor. You're earning more money being working from home. Can't I just record you on Camtasia or something? And then I could create a curriculum out of it and a
Mm.
training program and sell it to others. That way, you've got a reason why you can train me. You dog, I'm your mate. Anyway, so he didn't. It took me 6 months to convince him to do it. And what it took was me to say, all right, what's it going to take? So we came to a deal to say, okay, well, if you can sell it to 10 people for $1,000 or whatever it is over a month, then I'll train you. I go, done. I put a one-page sales letter. I doubled the price to $2,000. I sold it to 20 people in half the time, 2 weeks. And I'm like, Rob, done. Here's the course, mate. Or 25 people actually.
Mm.
We got $25,000 up front. I said, mate, you have to train me. I now need to record you making money live on the internet. And he did
That's
finally.
yeah, that's
Amazing. And so that
fabulous.
was
I
the
love
birth.
Yeah, I love that story. I mean, there's a couple of things that strike me there. You know, you had the courage and the audacity to say, "Well, I'm going to charge 2,000." So you basically just put the value on it. Now, I'm guessing you had a really good sales letter there, but also up selling it up front before you even had the training program done.
I sold the
Mm,
dream. I knew that was the dream I wanted,
mm,
and it was called the Online Marketing College. And I know Rob was not a what's the best way to put this, a willing participant, but I was very interested in this because I love the idea of being a digital nomad, the idea of traveling the world and shutting your computer and working from anywhere. I'm a young man and I want to see the world and get paid for it. How awesome is
mm,
that? Make money along the way. And this is 2004, guys. So it's early days, unlike
yeah.
today, where remote working is a thing. Thank
Mm,
God. So, so then I had that session with Rob, and Rob makes on the spot like 10,000 US in 3 hours. I break it up, I make the, and we deliver on the promise. So the reason why I upsold from 1,000 to two was while I was writing that sales letter, I kept putting what I wanted to see in there as
mm,
the student, as the learner. And I thought, oh my God, I know Rob and I know he could do that. I just have to help Rob deliver on that. And that's exactly what we did. And we
mm,
actually helped, I think we helped two or three people become millionaires before we did ourselves. And so
yeah.
that was finally a tick on my meaningful, purposeful, make an impact
Mm,
kind of bucket list element. So, so that was the experience. Rob did the course, we did it, everything. I'm finally paying off my debts, taking on life, earning money again, doing really well. And then I have a headache for 2 weeks, and I had no idea what this headache. I mean, how do you have a headache for 2 weeks?
mm,
And I didn't even realize it until I looked at my bin and I saw these Panadols boxes, empty boxes, and I thought, oh, that doesn't look good. I really should check that out. So I go to the doctors. You know, I'm getting I'm doing seminars, events. And we're doing really well with this online marketing college. I'm getting Rob as a speaker everywhere. And then I go to the doctors to get this scan, and I go, look, I just hope you can find what the hell is this. And by this stage, I've totally forgotten my hereditary condition because when I was diagnosed at 19, like any young person would, when you get bombarded with such overwhelming, serious
mm,
news, it's too hard. You run away from it. You
yeah.
forget about it.
Yeah.
You say, "Nah,
Suppress it.
I'm not."
So, yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't take it in. I said, I'm not doing that. I'm not going through these yearly scans. I'm not checking up myself. As a matter of fact, I'm going to debate that I've even got it. DNA was just emerging in that time, and I was challenging it. I go, how can you know I've got this condition because I've got all these missing DNA strands? A normal person is 18, 19,000. I've got 12,000. So what? Tell me what the missing strands are. Then, this, I was
Mm,
arguing. I was a young guy. And so anyway, I ignored the condition and it finally caught up with me, the reality at that time. So I go to the doctors because they were calling me to go see them over and over and over. And I finally went to see them and said, yep, we know why you've got this headache for the last 2 weeks. Chris, you've really let this really loose because you've grown a tumor that's about 5 centimeters right at the back of your head, cerebellar part of your brain, that's so big that it's about to pop. A matter of fact,
mm,
we're surprised you're still alive. Normally, we give people an estimate of, this is well, maybe you got a year or two to live or whatever it is. But in your
mm.
scenario, mate, you already passed that point. You should be dead already. A matter of fact, you fall, you trip, you have a bad poo in the toilet, and you're dead in the toilet. And so that's how far I left that. So the doctor goes, Chris, that was on a Tuesday. He said, mate, I've already booked you with a leading neurosurgeon to have a brain operation on Thursday. Hey, hang on a minute. Someone's going to chop into my head? You mean I'm having a brain operation? What? I mean, that was an invasion of privacy right there.
Mm.
I mean, whoa, it's not a kidney operation, it's not a leg operation, it's a brain operation. Who the hell has brain operations? I had no idea about brain operations. And then next thing you know, here I am with this doctor having a brain operation on a Thursday. So talk about a switch of events. And from
Yeah.
finally picking up to having a brain operation. I have the brain operation. It's a success in 2005. And when the tumor was all taken out, the doctor said, "Can you touch your nose with your hands? Can you move?" And I was fine. I knew I just dodged a bullet. And I'm there on hospital going, "Yep, I am lucky. Yes, this is my second chance to life." Wow. I had a massive ego hit at that bed, on that bed in the hospital, because I was lying there going, I'm I, I'm dying here. My head's just been chopped. Birds are still singing. Nurses and stuff are still carrying on. I'm here dying, or I've just almost died. And I think my own self was aware of my own mortality for the first time right then.
Mm.
Fascinating. The concept of death, or that I and all of us will die one day, never hit home for me. Even though I was diagnosed at 19, I'll be dead. As a reality, I just kept pushing it away so much that come this experience, at 30, 32, or 31, however old I was, I just woke up to that reality. And to me, it
Mm.
was an ego blow, because I just got off my high horse, whatever high horse I was on, and realized, mate, this is really your last chance. If you don't start living the way you want to live right now, you may never get that chance. When do you think you'll ever get that chance to live the way you
Yeah.
want? You dreamer, you're fantasizing of this future. Hello?
Yeah. So what changes did you implement then? I mean, obviously there were some that were health dictated, but what changes did you implement in your own mindset and the way you lived your life, and also in how you went about business from there?
First, the business that I did with Rob was, it was dead overnight, because I realized I was the business. Rob was an unwilling participant.
Mhm.
So that was one thing. Two, I realized also, while I'm in that hospital bed, they wanted me to do the scans of the rest of my body, because they knew I let this condition loose and unchecked and unmeasured for too long. And they did MRIs all over my body, and they discovered that my two kidneys are riddled with cancers as well. Matter of fact, not just little tumors, but like my right kidney was 95% occupied with cancers. Some were really big, over 4 or 5 centimeters as well. And again, here I am saying, "Oh my God, it's my real second chance in life." Then I get kidney diagnosis of cancers, and I go, so what does that mean now?
Mm.
Chris, it looks like we're going to have to operate straight away to remove some of these cancers. You've let this too loose, mate. You might be dead in the next few months or weeks. We don't know how severe this is. Only once we do those tests, once we remove them out, we'll know where you're at, what stage of cancer, and then we can better assess. But that's where you're at. So now I go from this realization of, yeah, mate, it's your second chance. Woohoo! You got out lucky, to, I got cancer now. So I've just had a brain operation. Now I've got cancer. Who has cancer? Oh, you read about it. I don't know anyone in my life that's had cancer. Holy cow, I've got cancer. So, and not just cancer, I've got it bad. And so, yeah, I said to the doctors, "Guys, stop, man. I need to recover what I've just had happen to my head. I'm taking some time out. Give me a couple of months. I need to get back on my feet. I live alone in Sydney. I'm a dead man already. So if it's spread, it's spread, okay? Relax." And everyone's looking at me going, "I can't believe this patient is so blasé about his mortality or about cancer." I just thought, I was just being attacked, attacked, attacked. I just knew I just had to, hang on a minute, take it easy for a sec. So here I am back at home, finally discharged, and I'm at home. And this was a fascinating period. So I'm at Bondi Beach. I'm at Campbell Parade. I'm overlooking Bondi Beach, the surfers, the girls in bikini, and I'm there enjoying my sights, realizing my mortality, going, I wonder how much longer I've got to live. Oh my God, I'm going to die. I'm going to be dead. Wow. And then I see the preparation of the city to surf happening in front of me. And I go, that's it. I'm going to run the race. I'm going to embrace this life, whatever life I've got left. It doesn't matter about my mortality. What matters is how I live and how I choose to live now. So I said to the doctors, I went straight there, mate, I know I've had the operation where, it was the part of the brain where it controls my movement. And but can I run? I want to run this race. I haven't trained for it in 2 years. I haven't done anything, but I want to run it. And he's like, mate, your body might not work the way you're used to. You might injure yourself. You might fall pretty badly. You can't even turn your head, Chris. What are you talking about? Because at the time I could only do that. I was shaved. I had these staples in my head. So 6 weeks after the run, after the brain operation, I ran this race, the Sydney to
Wow.
Surf fun run, 14 kilometers. I just ran it. So 2 years ago, I ran that race, and my target goal was 60 minutes, and I did it in 65 minutes with about 3 months of training, younger, tumor-free. And now here I am, can't turn my head, blood from kidney cancers, just had a brain operation, and I haven't trained for it, and I run this race. I'm running and I feel this new zeal in me. I feel this energy. I've got this light spring. I'm just embracing. I've got this smile on my face and I'm loving this run. And I'm going all out. I'm not holding back in any way. If I'm going to collapse, let me collapse on Heartbreak Hill at least. And so, so I'm going for it all the way. And next thing you know, I'm heading towards the finish line and I see the clock and I finish it at 58 minutes and 22 seconds, breaking my personal best and breaking my own target. Mate, I was like, what just happened? I can't believe how much I am limiting myself in this life before I've even begun anything. And that was the operation with this run is what transformed me.
Yeah.
And I've got
That's
all
an
this.
amazing
Yeah,
story. Yeah.
it's a phenomenal experience. But it's a
Mm,
wake up call. That's a big time wake up call, multiple sides. Wake up call about mortality that, hey, your
mm,
time, you've got this clock on. Time is our dictator of this life in this biological form. What are you going to do about it? And then stop limiting yourself because of this condition. I didn't notice that I limited myself so much in anything before I've even started. And I woke up to that reality of my mindset saying, whoa, pay attention to your mindset, to what you assume is so. You think that's the truth? You think that's what you believe is what you should believe? You think that's the reality? And I already thought I did those transformations at 24, 25 when I
mm.
quit the idea of a job. So, so that was another wake up call 5 years, 6 years later, 7 years later. And so I took a year off in 2006 after all these brain operations, after the right kidney was removed. I've still got the left kidney. And I said the same thing to my other doctors, hold off on the left kidney. I know I've got cancers. Guys, I'm a dead man, but I want to have fun if I've only got one more year to live. I'm taking a year off and I want to go travel the world. I'm going to go online dating and try to shag as many women as possible. So that was my second chance to life. That's a reality. I've even wrote about it in my book. Wife knows about it. And a matter of fact, that's how I met my wife. She was one of those lovely play dates of mine. And but she was something special. When you travel a year and you're on this circumstance where you don't even know whether after this year you're coming back alive or dead, and you realize your limitation, you're not holding back, mate. You're going for it. So I rock up to China and I've got dates lined up. I get to see awesome museums, restaurants, culture through these relationships and dates everywhere. Vietnam, here, there. I was all Asia. I was making my way to Europe. I was making my way to Russian girls, but I didn't quite get there because I found love. I underestimated love. I didn't even know how to love myself properly or loving others before this trip. And then in India, I woke up to love, you could say. I realized that I won't go into details, but I realized that one has to learn how to love to have love in life. And so when I learned how to love, I then realized, since I'm dating for 1 year, I realized, oh no, I can love anyone. Oh my, guys, girls, fat, tall, skinny, ugly, beautiful. It didn't matter. I started loving anyone. I really started practicing love so much that it was really annoying because I saw l- love everywhere. It drove me
Yeah.
nuts. So I went from not seeing love anywhere, finding it a miracle. How does one ever make a decision to marry or fall in love, to all of a sudden loving everyone? um, so this is my 1 year experience. But guess what? The year has passed. I've had this awesome adventure, and I'm not dead. I'm alive. So I
Mm.
come back to Sydney, and hey man, here I am. I had my year off. Awesome. Okay, now what? Alrighty, Chris, we're going to prepare for your left kidney operation. Let's first start with removing those little tumors with radio frequency, and then we remove half your kidney because you've got the bottom part occupied with cancers. And I go, yeah, but doesn't it sound a bit sus because I grow hereditary tumors. So if I don't have them now, even if we remove it, doesn't mean I'll get them again. Shouldn't we be thinking about this differently? Because that's everyone's doctor's advice. St. Vincent's Private Hospital, Randwick. I was going, no, this is not happening. This is not. I don't agree with this idea, this advice from these doctors. Because if I chop half, then I'm left with half, maybe earlier than I should. So here I am already challenging people. And
Mm.
this mindset of mine is already in action. So I said to a doctor friend, is there any other hospital that's these bloody referral systems? Because this doctor refers his mate, who's another doctor in another hospital, and they just simply bloody concur with each other. They don't want to lose face. These guys are giving me the same advice. I got to get out of this system. And so he goes, yep, go to Westmead Private, all the way down Parramatta Way. You're close there, down there. You'll get away from this network of doctors. Find yourself another one there. So he recommended a hospital because he said the team are amazing at that hospital. And so I came across a kidney doctor there, Dr. Howard Lau, amazing man. And he said, yep, Chris, look, if you don't want to go from those kind of keyhole approaches, what I can do is chop you up in half, put your kidney, have your kidney in my hand. I'm going to slice them so I can sustain and retain as much of your original kidney. I said, Doc, that sounds like a better plan, mate. Let's go with that.
Mm.
So after that operation, how long will I have with my kidney? He goes, who knows, mate? On a third of a kidney, you might have 2 years with your condition, maybe 10 if you're lucky. I go, mate, how's this? And now I find myself bargaining for life yet again. I go, mate, how's this? I mean, this is before the operation. Yeah, this is like late 2007. I go, mate, you gave me 10 years of kidney life, and I will employ thousands. And he goes to me, what are you talking about? It's my job. But he didn't react that well. I could see it in his eyes.
Mm.
That's how he reacted the second time. But I felt like I need, that book about death and dying where you get angry, then you start bargaining, and there's this emotional journey
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
go on. That's exactly what I've been doing.
Mm.
And I found myself naturally bargaining for my life. Hey, I got to do a noble deed. I got to do something meaningful. And also, that's what I want to do. I'll employ thousands. That's a good deal, isn't it? And then as I walk out of the room, he asked me a question. Well, how many people do you employ now? I go, none, because I just came back from overseas. And so I planted a seed in him, and this doctor I knew was where a miracle might happen for me if it's done right, if it's done fast, if it's done properly. I may get that 10 years, and then I made that pledge to go for it, and that pledge represents the birth of Remote Staff, the company that since that pledge has now employed over 8,000 people, Filipinos, to work remotely, mostly for Australian clients.
Mm. Yeah, that's a wonderful story. Now, I let you go there. I had lots of bullet points
Yeah,
that I wanted to touch on today, but I think we probably have to schedule another episode to talk about remote stuff because I think there's a lot there that I'd love to explore. the whole idea of accepting your mortality and then saying, well, what? How can I make the best out of my life? I think is really inspiring, and also the idea. I mean, I know it was done out of kind of I want to make a deal with you here, but then to follow through because obviously, you came up with this top of mind thought about employing thousands of people, and you didn't really know how you were going to do that at the time. I would imagine not having anybody employed.
Yeah, exactly. And I just did the online marketing college with Rob. I wanted to be this digital nomad. I was experiencing that landscape, and then I took a year off because of the brain operation. So all these circumstances up until that point were kind of leading me towards that idea or that concept that was kind of like brewing in my head, but I hadn't done anything. So since that was top of mind at the time, it made sense that I'd make a pledge to employ thousands
Mm,
and really deliver on that. Because again, what I like about making pledges and what I do urge everyone in your audience is, guys, we don't have that much time that you all realize. Before you know it, we're all much older, and before you know it, our time has passed. If we don't really commit to go past that safety zone of I'll try, I don't want to look foolish and fail, or if you don't go all out, when will you go all out in your life? And I
mm,
think making a commitment, a pledge, a spiritual pledge, if you have to, allows you to go do or die. I will. And when you do that, it's transformational because you realize that there's the world is somehow conspiring to assist. There's all of a sudden energies and thoughts and insights, mindset. I don't know what the hell happens to you, but something happens to you, and you just get on this rocket ship. But are you a person that would be willing to make such a pledge, a commitment? It's got to be noble, by the way. That's got to be for others, not just for yourself. I
mm.
want a Porsche. No, no, no. It's got to be a cause, and if you are, and you're prepared to do or die, do whatever it takes, whatever, you will surprise yourself. A matter of fact, you will be shocked and disappointed at how you were thinking before.
Mm.
And then the other thing that surprises you is how limitless we are as spiritual energy beings in every way. Whatever limits you have. Oh, I was dyslexic. I only read my first book at 24. Oh my God, I'm born behind the eight ball with my condition. Oh my God, I got this. If you want to talk about limits, mate, I had them all. I
Yeah, yeah,
wasn't robbed with, A grade maths and class. I was the opposite end. So
yeah.
that's
And
my parting. This was not what we intended it to be,
well,
but
we'll have
hey,
we'll have to bring you back for another episode. I will take us into the buzz round though very shortly in a
sure.
moment. But I think what you've just said is quite inspiring and certainly great advice for the listener. And I think going back to your story about the run is really important. You
Mm.
kind of physically you were nowhere in any condition to really do a challenging run like that. And just to put it in perspective for those people that don't know the city to surf in Sydney. So you start off in Sydney centre and you run down to Bondi Beach in the surf, and there's quite a few hills along the way. And Chris referred to Heartbreak Hill. I don't know it personally, but I have followed the race quite a bit. It's 14 kilometres, so it's kind of a third of a marathon, I think. And
Mm.
so you weren't in any condition to do that, but you broke all the records and, in fact, achieved the time that you'd set yourself a few years earlier when you were fit and healthy and had trained for it. So
And
I think that,
can you believe I came in the top 1,000
yeah.
of
So that's
50,000 runners?
yeah. So that I think that's a real good metaphor for we do limit ourselves, and we're off. We're if we're passionate enough and driven enough, we're capable of doing amazing things. So great story.
So much more. Yeah,
Yeah. All right. As I say, we will have you back, and we'll talk about remote stuff and business stuff a little bit more. But I think it's a
sure.
good thing to do the buzz today. And it's our innovation round designed to help our audience who are primarily innovators and leaders in their field with some tips from your experience. So I've got 5 questions, and hopefully you'll give us some really insightful answers and short answers to
Sure. Okay.
inspire people to go and do something awesome today and really, take
Brilliant.
your advice that you've given us a moment ago. So what do you think the number one
Let's
thing
do it.
is anyone needs to do to be more innovative?
Win people and facilitate, help them. You got to understand that supervision is old school. That we're in
Mm,
the knowledge industry today. We're not in the industrial era. And so, therefore, you got to ask yourself as that leader, if you want to be an innovator, you got to ask yourself, how do you grow people in your organization? Not via knowledge, but how do you help them learn through their experiences to develop new practices? Let them think for themselves, let them apply themselves, let them grow, because that's the only way how you're going to be able to innovate. It's not all about you. It's about you and the team. If you
mm.
want to achieve great things in this life, it's not about what you can do. It's about what you could do through others.
Yeah, yeah, that's wonderful advice. And also the idea of asking for help, even if you don't have a team of employees like you have now, but asking for help
Yeah,
from others because there's other people that can be on your team, even if they're not part of your business.
totally. And,
Oh,
and and it's everywhere, by the way. Knowledge is everywhere for you
mm.
to get help everywhere. So I've got to keep it short for you. Yeah, go for it.
All right. What's the best thing you've done to develop new ideas?
Uh, Document them, spec them out, create communications, share them, and I think see I'm not I'm a creative person, so I'm being a visual thinker, creative kind of person. I idealist, a dreamer. I have no shortage of ideas, so that ain't my challenge. You
Yeah.
see, so for me, my challenge is capturing them and being strategic at how you're going to roll that out, how you're going to commercialize it, and in what order will you need to roll that out. Because when you've got an engine of so many moving parts and so many factors that contribute to all these other connections, well, how do you phase it out? How do you roll it out? What's the order of things?
Mm.
So that's why the communication to me has been, and really nutting out that idea on pen and paper just helps bring it to life first.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. And that helps you focus, I guess, too, on which
Big
ones
time.
might be the ones to take forward right now.
Yes.
All right. Now, do you have a favorite resource that you use most often?
Look, I wish I had a tool and stuff, but I don't. I think my favorite resource would be to develop a strong mindset, a
Mm.
resilient mindset, a mindset of transformation. Understand what resilience and transformation means, because hello, wake up. Our environment of business today, we are in 2020. Yes, it's unstable. Have you noticed that things are all changing? Have you noticed that every business, big or small, is updating their systems or going through some massive transformation? So it's all about your mindset. That's the
Mm.
number one tool you should be focusing on developing.
Yeah, yeah, and that's really good advice. And of course, you've learned that through all the experiences that you've had and that you've described for us today.
I call them. I've had surgical mindsets. I've had them chopped on both my right and left hemisphere.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Now, what's the best way to keep a project or a client on track?
Well, other than the communication of things, I think it's energy. If you're not, if there's no energy anymore, if there's no follow through, follow up, consistent revising, evolving, keeping the communication flowing, updating accordingly, all stakeholders and those involved, energy.
Hmm.
Make sure that there's energy. If you want to innovate and if you want to sustain things, keep things on track, if there's no energy, you're off track.
Yeah, that's great advice. Yeah, I love it. And I think you feel that, right? You feel that the moment that
Yeah,
the energy flags a bit, you feel that. And this is not okay. I'm a little tired today. I might have not as much energy as yesterday. It's really about what's the drive and passion for the project.
it has got to be passion and drive.
Mm.
Without passion and drive, there's no innovation.
Yeah. Okay. Now, what's the number one thing anyone can do to differentiate themselves?
Understand your whys and decide that you're going to do something about it.
Hmm. That's great advice. And it comes back. I mean, a lot of people say things here in the answer to that question that relate to self-awareness and having that level of self-awareness. And I think listening to your story, clearly you've developed some self-awareness as a result of that, because you're kind of
Yeah.
placed in a situation where you had to do it. You're almost
Mhm.
forced to. But I think, those of us that are more fortunate in terms of health probably need to be more disciplined around being more self-aware and then digging into, well, what am I doing and why am I doing it? And yeah.
It's a lot more important than we all realize,
Hmm.
because if you want to go sailing on Sydney Harbour and you don't have any mask up, you're not going anywhere fast, and you're
Yeah.
not going in any direction you want to go. So your wise is your mask, as we all heard this old analogy.
Hmm.
And so you are underestimating the power of energy if you don't have your wise set out. If you have wise plus a pledge to that, it's a powerful combination. All of a sudden, you got more drive and more wind up that sail than you've ever dreamt was possible.
Hmm. Great. I love the analogy. All right, Chris. Well, thank you. This has been really fabulous. Now, where can people find out more about you, find out more about the Just Keep Going book and what you've got planned for that, and also maybe even get in touch and say thank you for what you've shared with us today?
Sure. Look, so the Just Keep Going book is going through a process. I first started writing the book because I thought I'm a dead man again, and I wrote it for my two sons who are small, 3 and 9. And then I had a second kidney operation, made a third pledge to a second pledge to the same doctor, and I said, "You get me another 10 years, and I'll inspire millions." So then I decided to share my story as a result. So it was first a private book for my family. Now I've made it a public book. And then I was having a book marketer who was about to go find a publisher and all that. And then I pulled the plug and said, no, I'm not happy, because I don't care about just sharing my story. I want to share my story that is like a facilitating of what's next. Like, okay, so uh, my transformations, my story, my adventures. But now, how do you make a transformation in your life? How do you develop this remarkable resilience in your own life? How do you develop these drives? And so I'm now working at developing the book into splitting into my personal transformation and how one does that in yourself. Because as leaders, we all underestimate that in this day and age we're in today, the companies and businesses are all transforming rapidly. And guess what? So should our own leadership. And that
Hmm.
starts with Almighty us. It
Yeah.
ends with us. It starts with us. So now, the other part of the book is all about my business transformation and leadership transformation, and that ain't yet ready. And so, yeah, the book's not ready. It's still going to be developed. Probably, I'm hoping by the end of the year. But yeah, but you can find me on justkeepgoing.com. LinkedIn is where I'm active at the moment under my name, Chris Jankulovski. And yes, if you think you like the idea of whatever I am doing in this remote stuff and this journey of empowering, I'm actually going to do, and I'm about to break the status quo in my own company. I'm about to transform, and I'm going to do a pilot run starting next week. So if you're interested in Filipino talent, you not projects, I'm sorry. If you want a dedicated team member
Hmm.
that you could only dream of finding locally, let alone offshore, then yeah, I'll be available to talk, because since 2009, I haven't spoken to any employers, and I have not helped them directly find the dream staffing, remote staffing solution for their business. I'm about to do that next week for a 1 month trial, 24th of February to the 20th of March. So yes, I guess I'll give you all my details, and you can pass it along whoever is interested.
Great. Thanks, Chris. And we'll place, so it's remotestaff.com.au is the main website for that business, right? And so
Well,
we'll have,
yeah, but the trial would not be accessible that way. If you want
okay.
the trial, you'll need to basically email me directly. So I might as well just say my email. Bloody hell, here I go. I can't believe I'm saying it public. Um, no, I'm going to give you another email for this trial. Say,
Okay. We'll,
let's
po-
call it. Yeah,
we'll
you
post
want
it
to
in
name an email?
we'll post it in the show notes. So yeah, so think about it, give it give it to us afterwards. We'll post it in the show
Oh,
notes so people can.
mate. There's nothing like now. Let's do it. You named the email.
All right. So let's say InnovaBuzz offer, all one word, at
Done. InnovaBuzz offer at
remotestaff.com.au.
remote staff. Done. Woohoo!
There we go.
It was mentioned for the first time here, so rightfully so.
Excellent. Okay, now what's the number one piece of advice you'd like to leave our listener today? I mean, I think you've given us probably one, but can you encapsulate it really nicely for us?
If there was one piece of advice to tell yourself, to tell everybody, first, guys, don't worry. It's okay. It's okay. Just don't worry. I know there's a lot of change, a lot of transformation. Oh my God, a lot of uncertainty. Oh my God, I'm going to go make pledges and go all out. Relax. Don't worry. Trust in the unknown. Trust in this unstable, fluid environment you're going to be in called energy. Let it flow through you. Relax. Don't worry.
Great. All right. That's wonderful advice. Now, finally, Chris, we will get you back on another podcast to talk some more about your book and the whole Just Keep Going idea, and also about remote staff. So it might end up being two podcasts. But who else should I chat with on a future InnovaBuzz podcast, and why?
Well, today I came across a post which I loved so much called "Your Business is a Mirror of Your Mind." Her name is Paris Coulter from Blue Sky, founder. I don't know who she is. Like, I've never met her in person, but I loved her post regarding your business is a mirror of your mind, because that's a wake-up call to ownership of whatever you think is going on in your business. Take ownership for it, buddies. We're the leaders. Yeah, we know it all starts with us, it ends with us, the buck stops with us. Yeah, but have we ever really put that mirror there to say whatever's going on in your business, in your organization, in your company, whether it's your company or not, let's say you're the manager there, you're the leader there, put that mirror up, because everything you see is a reflection of your mind, your mindset.
Great.
So she's the lady that I recommend.
Wonderful. Thanks, Chris. Well, we'll get the link to that post from you, and we'll start a conversation with Paris and see if we can get her on the podcast as well. Well, thanks so much for sharing your time and your insights with us today. This has been absolutely fascinating, inspiring. I think a wake-up call perhaps for many. So I certainly wish you all the best, and let's keep in touch and let's make sure we schedule those follow-up podcasts too.
It'll be a delight. It'll be my pleasure. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed that inspiring conversation with Chris and took something away from his episode. What an amazing story and testament to what we can achieve when we let go of limitations. We didn't get to hear much about Chris's business and how he's built that, and also his plans for the Just Keep Going book. However, we will get him back on a future InnovaBuzz podcast episode to explore those topics further. I'd love to know what you took away from Chris's episode. Leave a comment below the blog post, which you can find at innovabiz.co/Chris Jankulovski. That is CHRISJANKULOVSKI. All lowercase, all one word, innovabiz.co/Chris Jankulovski. You'll also find contact information for getting in touch with Chris there, as well as links to the Remote Staff website, to the Just Keep Going website, to his social media pages, and the other resources we spoke about in today's conversation. Chris suggested that we have a conversation with Paris Cutler, Blue Ocean strategist and life coach, on a future InnovaBuzz podcast episode. So Paris, keep an eye on your inbox for an invitation from us to the InnovaBuzz podcast, courtesy of Chris Jankulovski. Remember to check out our Marketing Master mini class at innovabiz.co/Marketing Master. It's completely free and accessible without even giving away your email. But most importantly, it will enable you in less than 30 minutes to gain absolute clarity about who your ideal client is and how you can communicate with them to build and strengthen an engaging, enduring relationship. And if you'd like our help to go even deeper into marketing mastery, or our help with producing your very own podcast, even launching your very own podcast if you don't yet have one, then send me an email to jurgen@innovabiz.co and we can set up a quick call to have a short conversation and find out whether we're a good fit for one another. Tune in again to the next episodes of the InnovaBuzz podcast, where we've got some more fantastic guests lined up, including J. Scott Christensen, expert about all things AI, and Anthony Sarandria, founder of SiteFlood. Stay connected with us by subscribing to the InnovaBuzz podcast at innovabuzz.com/subscribe. innovabuzz.com/subscribe. Make sure you never miss another episode. It would also mean a lot to me if you leave us a review, because what you think matters. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your ideas, your suggestions, or questions you have, so go ahead and share them in the comments below the blog post for this episode. Until next time, I'm Jurgen Strauss from InnovaBizz. Remember, be awesome and keep innovating.